Welcome to our November online teaching 2022. We meet once a month like this, coming together from all over the world to learn and share together the grandmother's teachings. And they've guided us for many years now and taught us one thing after another, deepening us in the process, drawing us closer together and drawing us into oneness with them and with all forms of the divine. For those of you who are new to this, the grandmothers are not a religion. They are teachers. They are embodiments of the divine who've come at this particular time to teach us the way back to union with all of life. They've come to usher in the Great Mother, bring her back to earth so that we learn how to live the love, imbibe it, breathe it in, breathe it out, and just be part of this universal love for one another, for everything that lives. And so with their work for us, they've brought us one step at a time, teaching us that we live and work beyond any kind of borders of any kind, that there is no limit to what we do. There's no limit of time or space. There is no limit between different realms of life, that we are at one with our ancestral lines. We are at one with the ancestors of the light. We are constantly in support of the ancestors of the land. We work with all beings at all times. And so as this has progressed one step at a time, we've grown in love and we've grown in power and understanding. And we'll do that for all the days of our life because this teaching will never stop. And right now, for the last 2 years or so, they've had us working and becoming awake to our oneness with all of nature. That we humans are not separate from nature, that nature isn't over there somewhere, that nature is all around us, it's in us, that our very bodies are comprised of the elements of earth, air, fire, water, and ether, space, that we embody these elements and are embodied by them. And we are a natural part of the world. And so they're calling us back to union with nature. Now that can sound foreign to us because we've been so mentally focused for so very, very long, conditioned to only trust the mind and the things of the mind. And yet this way of relating to the waters, to the trees, to the grasses and the fields, to the animals, to the plants, to rocks, to everything. This is beyond the mind. This is not confined by, nor can it be confined by the mind. And so it's a different kind of learning. It is our earliest learning. It's what we were born with, born in synchronicity with all of nature, with a deep love of and understanding of nature, at one with the enfoldment of the life force here on earth, the life force throughout the cosmos. But we were so conditioned by all of our societal demands that we began to distrust that we really could communicate with nature. And we were told and taught that nothing has that kind of consciousness. Only humans have consciousness. Only humans understand. Only humans can figure out these things out. And yet, as we live now, more and more into the foreground come these little teachings of, oh, there's this whole mycelial layer within the earth that the trees and plants use to communicate with one another, helping, healing, and supporting each other. Oh, it's possible for the birds to know where they go and where they're returning to. And how can we explain the salmon? How can we explain that salmon climbing the water against all odds to get to the place where for generations its family line has laid its eggs? How can we explain all these things? And then in 2014, through the use of the Hubble telescope, science discovered the net of light, which they call the cosmic web, the great filament that holds everything throughout the universe, throughout the cosmos, that connects everything. And this is not an idea. This is a physical reality. This net of light that holds us all in oneness is what we here in this work with the grandmothers and the net of light. This is what we rely on. We work with the net of light every day, and by so doing have strengthened its bond with us, its bond with the earth and the entire cosmos. And as this happens, as this strengthening goes on and on, we become, I guess the word is a little more enlightened, yes, about who we really are, how great we really are, how vast our grasp is, what we are possible of. And so as we begin today, we will work as we always do with the net of light. And then we will begin to work and share together with how we are now anchoring the net of light throughout all of nature, and how nature in turn is imbuing and anchoring itself within us. We are returning to the great oneness, the one love. So to begin, very simply, let yourself be supported by the chair and the floor, and think of this radiant net of light, the cosmic web, the cosmic net, whatever you want to call it, Indra's net. This is the same construct. It is spoken of throughout the cultures in the world. It is the great connector of love and light that permeates everything on earth, that permeates everything throughout the cosmos, and it holds you now and always. And think of taking your place, occupying your place within the net of light, and letting it hold you as you rest here. It will rock you, it will hold you steady. It looks like a great fishing net to see it with your mind's eye, a vast fishing net that stretches farther than the eyes can see, touching everything, imbuing every tree with light. The seas are crisscrossed millions of times over with light. Every fish is lit with a net of light. The rocks themselves are full and radiated by the net of light. Every building, every highway, every river, every desert, every breeze, the clouds, everywhere is this radiant net of light that holds everything in its embrace. This is the fabric of being, of the universe. You are part of this. And as you become more and more awake to this, the greater will be your joy. So think of sitting now or lying down at a place where these 2 points of the net of light come together and cross. There'll be a place that'll feel just right for you, and rest there now and let the net of light hold you. It will rock you, cradle you, and hold you in your perfect place. And as it does that, the light from the net flows into you, and the light and love within your own heart responds, flowing into the net of light. And there's this beautiful two-way flow of love and gratitude flowing to you, flowing to the net of light. A great lifting, healing, filling, a deepening of wisdom and understanding through your cells of your body, through the blood supply, through the thoughts in your mind, through your skin, through the air you're breathing. This radiance is pulsating throughout every part of you. You are full of light, and yet more full. And together we think of magnifying this reach of the net of light for all beings, that all may receive what is intrinsically theirs, that each one may know that they are held, that they are in their perfect place right now, cradled and held in light. We cast the net of light to all beings. We begin with the human family, casting to all women, to all men, to all children, everywhere, asking that each receive what he most needs. And included with them are, we cast at the same time to all the ancestors of the light. So this radiant healing blessing goes back into what we think of as time, into what we think of as the past, and forward into what we think of as the future, so that everything, all beings, are held in light. And we cast now to the animal family, asking that every animal receive what they most need now, according to their highest good. And that this be done with the utmost grace and generosity. And it is. And we cast to the plant kingdom, asking that every plant, every bit of moss, every tree, every growing thing be filled with the radiance of the net of light. We cast to the mineral kingdom, to the sands, to the earth itself, to the rocks, asking that all mineral life be filled with the net of light, upheld and blessed. We cast to all the elements of the earth, to the earth herself, to fire, to water, to air, and to the ether or space. And we cast to all the elemental spirits of life who work tirelessly with the elements. We cast to all beings everywhere. And we ask that all be blessed, that all be held now and always in this embrace of the net of light. And that includes us. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. May everyone in all the worlds be happy. Oh, peace, peace, peace. That peace is enfolding you, enfolding every being. And each time Each time you think this thought, each time you sing this song, or any of the grandmother's songs, this happens again and again. The net of light is growing stronger, more and more able to feed light into every living thing. No matter the grave changes we're going through now, the great rocking and rolling of radical change, that's all happening. But underneath it all, this is what's happening. And this is why we were born, to hold light steady during these most unsteady times. Thank you. Thank you for who you are. So we have with us today a couple of guests that we don't usually have. We have Sinead from Ireland. We have Mary from Southern California. And also we have Peg from Southeastern United States. And we have Kate also from Southern California. And together we're going to talk a little bit about this working with nature, what it's like. And before we start, many of you have formed a team, a nature's support team for yourself, so that you could begin to feel more comfortable and confident working with nature. And I'll just reiterate that briefly for those of you for whom this is news. Basically, what we're doing is inviting in the spirits of nature to help teach us, because we're the ones who need to learn. We're the ones who pulled away. Nature never pulled away, but with our excessive emphasis on the brain and the mental understanding, and it has to follow a particular formula, we lost the ability to just open ourselves to nature. So to help us, many of us are basically calling on the spirits of nature, including Pan, the largest overlighting spirit of nature. We are also calling on the ascended, some of the ascended beings, those who are no longer in physical bodies, but those great teachers and healers that come to us and that many of us work with. And the grandmothers are in this particular group. Jesus is in this particular group. Buddha, Allah, and many thousands more are in these particular groups. And then we also call on our own higher self, the self who's never forgotten who she or he is, this core of our inner being. And together we've done, in Joshua Tree, when we went out into the desert and spent several hours in communication with these beings, asking them to help enlighten us, open our hearts, so that we could learn once again that we are one with nature, that we could sense her and sense her and be with her. So that is one thing we do. The other thing I wanted to just mention before we all come in together is it can be frustrating if to try to communicate with nature if you are relying on the old ways of learning, if you are relying on the mind to do this. Because if you are, you're going to be constantly frustrating yourself saying, nature, okay, what does she look like? How does that voice sound? How do I know if it's really happening or not? All of these kind of mental things that we've been taught to do that are useful in other forms of communication, but they're not useful at all here. Forget about it. Here, this is about eagerly waiting, being willing to be ignorant and coming and confessing to your own ignorance. I really don't, with trees, etc., I recognize I really don't know. I don't know anything, but I have a real love for you. and I want to know. Teach me, please. That kind of attitude. And then thoughts come, feelings come, songs come, memories come, awareness comes. You learn essentially through what I think of as the back door. It comes to you. That's the only thing. I've been so aware of that since this time of beginning to open my heart and the doors of my mind and heart to nature. So I'd like to ask everybody else now to chime in with what you're learning and what's challenging you. Sorry, I've got these allergies.
Yeah, I can go ahead there, Sharon. Thank you. I really don't know what I could possibly add to such beautiful, incredible words, but I can certainly speak of my own experience. And that would be, I find that when I'm looking to get in touch with the grandmothers, work with the net of light, immediately, obviously, maybe being out in nature, breathing, feeling the air around me, connecting with the grass underneath, looking out at the waters of the sea, and just immediately feeling the tangible, visceral feeling of being alive and moving at one, so that there not being a sense of feeling no sense of separation. But how I first am doing that is really by being deep in my heart. Everything that Sharon just said there is no way that trying to access nature from your mind will ever work. The only way to get, I feel, the only way to get really in communion and really heart to heart with nature is to be in your heart. So being in your heart, not doing and trying to get to nature, but more being in that place of oneness, opening out to, not allowing the fear of the unknown to in any way stop or prevent that incredible love of nature and the great mother and the great grandmothers to come in and give you everything that you're looking for and that you're asking for and that you're needing. So it's really just a matter of just opening, and really being heart all the way. Don't involve your mind. It just won't work. And acceptance that you're part of it, and loving yourself so much that you accept that you're part of this beautiful, beautiful earth, and not taking on any of the patriarchal agenda that we've been, amassed with, and instead breathing with the feminine principle and breathing with the grandmothers and taking it in for everything that it is, which is love. Love, deep connection with the earth, stillness, being, openness, and welcoming in those elementals. What I find is, open the door and they'll just come flooding in. You've just got it. You've just got to open that door and let them come to you, and they will recognize you, and they'll say, we recognize you from before, we know you, come. They're just waiting for you. The elementals are just waiting for you. All you've got to do is make yourself available. Sit, be in the surrounds of nature. If you're indoors, go to use something of nature, like that has like a mineral consciousness or a plant consciousness. Light a candle, open the window, let the ether element in. There's many ways of connecting, but if you're finding it hard to connect, then get out in nature and stay out there for as long as it takes. That's my main input, really.
Thank you, Sinead. Thank you. And who better than the Irish lass to start us off with that? Thank you. Mary, the other day you said something I can't remember, you cracked me up. You were so into this. You said, I feel like I'm pregnant.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and I had another experience with that this morning. So for me to lose my edges of my human character and embody, infuse just Mother Nature. I love to be quiet in the morning, go out in my garden. I'm always barefoot. It's just, I look forward to this time so much. And then I sit quietly and I start to do my meditation and greeting all the flower fairies, all Pan and all the nature spirits. And what happened this morning, so I'm learning. What gets in my way is right here. So I drop that thought processing and feel everything. So I literally see myself holding the earth, this glowing rose gold earth. And I am adoring the earth. I'm mothering the earth and radiating and rocking and singing to the earth. And then a process happened where it was like I was holding the earth, loving the earth, and then it went right into my womb, as I feel like the mother is the womb of everything. She gives us everything. I mean, it really hit me this morning. Everything you see, drink, eat, touch, breathe, everything. There's nothing she doesn't give us. And then it went into my womb. And I went, oh, wow, there is no separation. I am the mother with her mothering the earth. And then sometimes she's like behind me, the great mother, and she just comes like right inside of me, like we fuse. It's the separation is starting to ease away, when I feel that happening to me. So it is so joyous and it makes me laugh. It brings me into this space of lightness. That seems to be what's happening with me right now. So a lot of times I'll literally put my hand on my belly, just like I did when I was pregnant with my son. Like, oh, hi, there you are. Yeah. And I go everywhere with her, of course, So I think it's the way the grandmothers are guiding me, because I've asked for it. And they just say, relax, release, let go, and, receive. So that seems to be what's processing for me right now. And of course, being in nature, looking at that ocean, my feet in the water, the sand between my toes, or I'm hugging trees in the forest, or smelling the fallen leaves, any of that. I adore it. I just adore it. So, and that's my take.
and it adores you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mary.
You're welcome.
Heck, you were going to say something.
Well, I'm already so deeply impressed with how beautifully Sinead and Mary have spoken, and so many of the ideas that I thought I might be able to discuss are already on the table. It's just, I think that I can do a little bit of, I guess, a review or a retrospectoscope about my experience in working with nature. And it might be of help to somebody. It's very interesting to me. I have worked with nature very deeply and consciously for about 15 years, I would say. But it has only been within the past 2 to 3 years that there's been this great shift from this kind of more formal mental process of connecting to where there's much more of a sense of integration. So all of both Sharon, Sinead, and Mary, to a degree, I think have talked a bit about the mind trap is it is that it's a trap. It keeps us from seeing what's there. If we're trying to see through the mind, you do have to see through the heart. So Sinead said that so beautifully, and I love your experiences, Mary, just letting all of those boundaries relax and suddenly feeling this great wave of love, and suddenly you're pregnant with nature because you are one with the Great Mother. So I guess if people are just on a learning curve, take very seriously this idea of coming from your heart, softening in your heart. The procedure, I still use it all the time for many, many things. And it's opened my world. And so I treasure it and I'm very grateful for it, but it is not the answer for me for working with nature. It is coming from the heart and then giving myself every possible opportunity to practice. I'm betting that I'm like most of the people who were gathering together on this Zoom. I'm a nature girl. I love being outside. I love just being in the fresh air and smelling the breeze and hearing the birds and hearing the water and the little fountain here, or the brook. All those things that we love. I'm much more conscious about inviting whatever the lesson is that needs to settle in me to come. And so one of the techniques that I've used, and I'll just go ahead and launch into it because it's interesting and it's kind of fun. We've all talked about coming from the heart. And and being out in nature, actually giving us an experience of the outdoors, because nature is aware of us. Nature notices us. That hawk up there notices me. And of course, the Hawkeye is my totem. So I'm always, hi, Hawkeye, because his nest is right over there. So nature notices us. And what I've begun doing, and it's cool and it's helpful. As I start on my morning walk, and here's the visual, I'm walking two big dogs, so they've got their own agenda. And my agenda is to, okay, Peg, you know that the girls are going to want to sniff. Every time they stop to sniff and do what dogs do, just soften my heart and do a soft focus with my eyes, where you kind of let your eyes cross just the tiniest bit. You relax the eye muscles and things go into a bit of a soft focus. And things seem different. My heart is open and my eyes are a little crossed. Most of the time I have sunglasses on so neighbors won't worry. And it invites this level of experience that I don't think I had before I started doing practices like this. So I wanted to just mention one other thing. I don't want to be a time hog, but I have become very aware about, we cast the net of light to all that is outside our physical body. I mean, this is a huge part of what this work is that we do. And as I have been including casting the net to the inside of my body, that helps the boundaries dissolve also. There's this, it's like there's a confluence there, there's a flowing. And so it's just it's a very helpful practice, and it reminds me, yes, of course I'm nature. How could I not be? And that's a far cry from, well, yeah, I guess I'll consider that. Maybe that's so. On to the next thing. So, uh, so I love getting to talk to you about this. So thank you.
Oh, Peg, thank you for sharing those. Those are two real kernels of concrete really usefulness. As you were doing that, softening your eyes, sort of crossing your eyes, I realized, oh, that is so valuable. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. And to remember that when we cast the net of light, we are casting to ourselves. It's gold. Of course we are. Yeah. Oh, this is fun. Thank you all. This is great. Katie, did you want to add anything? If you
I
want to.
do. I would
Okay.
love to add something. Am I okay? I don't have a lot to add because it's been, as Peggy says, so rich already. And there's so much beautiful things, so many beautiful ideas and things to experience. I would like to just share that for me, it is a miracle in the moment when I walk up to a tree. I was in Central Park last week, the heart of 10 million souls in New York City, and the vertical canyons of concrete and the bustle. And I put my hand on a beautiful tree. And in that moment, I felt this, it was through the heart. It was this quickening of presence that I experienced of the tree's spirit. And I didn't get the words and I didn't get any guidance, but it was just a communing. And I really want to say that what I kept thinking as you were all speaking is nature is the beloved. And we are the beloved. And one of the things that is the keyhole for me to go through and enter into this beautiful relationship is to just observe, use all my senses, notice the beloved, notice the play of light on the leaf, notice that soft breeze on the face of the sound. We've all talked about it, but it is in the noticing and loving that the energy starts to happen. And that's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And what I'm thinking of is what we can do right now to finish is some of you, I know, want to do this more, want to feel more of a connection with nature. And as Peg said, working with this team, the elementals, the ascended beings, your own inner self, that is useful. It's not going to do it for you, but it will help you. And I think one thing that it helps with is it reminds you that you're not alone, that this is not something that you're going to do by yourself and that you have to work at it. It's just allowing all these forces of life to come in and work with you. So let's do that a little bit so that you can get, those of you who've never tried this before, we'll try it with you now and we'll all do it together. First of all, we're all connected. Our hearts are connected now together in this Zoom meeting. We're connected in the great net of light. We're connected in the great love. And so in this place, you can just think, I want to open to my connection with nature. And I really would love to have this team to work with, my own team to work with. And it's nothing that I have to think about. It will just come as it will. So to begin, I just say yes. Okay, I want to be fully part of life and nature. And so I invite now the spirits of nature to come in. And these may be the little leprechauns. These may be the devas. These may be the little menahunis in Hawaii. They may be the sylphs. They may be the dryads, the naiads, any form you may have heard of in mythology or in science or anywhere. But these are the spirits of nature who work with her to bring health and life and well-being everywhere. And we say, yes, I welcome you. Please help me make more contact with myself and with nature. And you could include Pan here. He's the overlighting Deva of the natural world, or he has one name for that. Sort of the El Jefe for the natural world. And then along with these nature spirits, we always invite in the elements themselves, honoring these elements that form our world and our bodies and everything, the earth, the air, fire, water, the ether. And then we bring in and invite in any of the great teachers, great beings who might be helpful to us. And some may come to mind. Some you may recognize and some you may not. All are welcome if they can help me and if I can be of help with them. And then invite in your higher self. All you have to do is think of that. There's no more to it than that. And having brought this team together now, ask for the image of a tree to come to you now. A tree. It can be a tree you know, it can be a tree you've seen somewhere, it can be a tree you've never seen. But this will be a tree, this great, great being in plant form that connects both heaven and earth. Roots spreading deep and wide, branches spreading high and wide, drawing the light down through the warmth of the sun, creating the greening of the needles, the greening of the leaves, and through the roots drawing in the minerals and the water, feeding the tree from below, feeding the tree from above. This great tree. And then just go forward, put your arms around the tree and kind of a greeting, a little hug. And then turning around, let yourself just fall back on the tree and rest. You may be lying down, you may be standing or sitting, but as you fall back, that tree accepts your weight and holds you. And aligned with the trunk of the tree, you breathe with it effortlessly. The tree is a great giver, a great giving being, and it breathes giving to you, and you receive from the tree every good thing coming up through your roots. You may feel that in your lower body and in your feet and legs, coming in through your branches that reach high. You may feel that along your spinal column, through your hair and scalp and arms and hands. And you just rest against this tree, asking your team to help you to open more and more to receiving from her, to giving to her, receiving love, giving love, receiving understanding, giving understanding, receiving compassion, and giving compassion. Effortlessly breathing in, breathing out. Part of the great giving, part of the great love. You rest here against the tree, receiving all you need. May you be blessed. May every being be blessed. May all the beings in all the worlds be happy. And that includes you. We'll see you next month for the next